I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, I'm so sorry I did this to us. I've got an email here from a viewer. He says, hey Coach, most recently in early December, my fiancee broke up with me after a year and a half together, and we were engaged for 8 months, and we've known each other for 20 years. I returned from a business trip and just moved into her apartment for only 3 days, and then she came home to tell me that she loves me, but she's not in love with me, and it's just not in her heart. I was shocked. Most guys usually are. He says, we just put a deposit on our wedding 3 weeks prior, and she went off the pill so that we could prepare for children. It's just amazing to me. It's like I did this, so many of these things. It's like we as human beings, we never think to really objectively look at the other person's actions in the relationship. We just assume that if they're with us and we feel a certain way, that obviously the other person must feel the same way. But when in reality, when you take into account the fact that most people in life tend to major in minor things, and a lot of men and women marry people or get into relationships or stay in relationships with people who aren't really doing it for them. I mean, if you've read my book, you know that I married my first wife. I loved her. She was a great girl, but I wasn't in love with her. And it's interesting. I got a friend of mine. He's married to his wife for, I guess they've been together. They've been married and together for 18, 19 years at this point. And the guy that she dated, I think about a year before him, she had dated this guy all through college, got engaged, and literally was like a couple of weeks away. I think it was like a week away from her marriage. And so she called it off. She told her parents that it wasn't right. They canceled the whole thing. She broke up with the guy. I'm sure he was obviously heartbroken, but I mean, she came from a really good family, and my buddy who she married, he came from a really good family, and she knew that deep down she just didn't feel it, and she was kind of going along with it. And she had more guts than I did, because she got out of that and didn't end up getting married until a few years later when she married my buddy. But I went ahead and married my first wife when I basically felt that way. And so it's a pretty common thing. I got another buddy of mine, another high school buddy of mine. He's been with the same girl since they were 19. He loved her, but he's never in love with her. He's been saying he's going to break up with this girl pretty much since a few weeks since they've been dating when they were 19. And now he's in his early 40s and they have 4 kids together. And he's just now finally leaving this woman and going out there and going after what it is that he really wants. He's lost about 70 pounds and he's focusing on his life. And people do this. It's like we get ourselves into these situations where we do what we think we should do instead of trusting our feelings. It's like we lean more on the monkey brain and the ego and do what society tells us or what our friends and family tell us what we think we should do, when our heart and our emotions just simply aren't in it. So he says, when she told me we both broke down and she wanted to stay at her parents', I immediately moved out that weekend, and she's texted me twice to date. Once was on Christmas Eve, and then on December 9th, and then December 17th, saying that I know that you don't want to speak to me and that I probably shouldn't send this text, but I just want to know if you're okay, and that I'm so sorry for doing this to us. I want you to know that I'm hurting too. I did not respond to that at all. I would have just said, hey, great to hear from you. Life is great, and I'm moving on with my life, and I hope you're moving on with yours too. If you ever want to work things out or give it another shot, shoot me a call, or shoot me a text. Give me a call. Other than that, have a great Christmas. Hope you have a great year coming up. And because here's the deal, she's unilaterally changed the terms of your relationship, and you're not interested, obviously, in the altered terms of your relationship, which is basically you two are apart. And so here's what is going to happen to your ex-fiancé here. So in this period of time, she's going to be thinking about you a lot, and obviously she's going to probably want to go out on dates or start, friends are going to start hooking her up. Oh, you need to get out there, get back on the horse, blah, blah, blah. And so all the while, you need to walk and never look back, because she broke it off with you. And so you did the right thing by moving on. You're like, hey, I'm out of here. And then you just ignored her text And I mean, at the end of the day, it takes two in a relationship, and she's the one that says, hey, I can't do this, I just don't feel it. And so when you give her that space and that time to experience what the grass is like on the other side, and if I were you, you should be out there trying to meet as many new women as you can and hook up and have a great time and get your focus off of the ex-fiance. Because if she calls you in the future and she texts you in the future, maybe she starts to regret things or whatever happens to be, because we all tend to look through rose-colored glasses at the past, and that's what will happen, is that she goes and she dates other guys, and she realizes that maybe the grass isn't so greener on the other side, and she starts to because remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And so by you just walking away and never looking back, she's there thinking about you, and she's thinking about the past. You guys have known each other for 20 years, and now this person that's been an important part of her life, or a part of her life for the past 20 years, is no longer there, and she may never see or speak to you again. So what'll happen is, if there's any kind of chance, if there's any kind of emotions or any chance of rekindling things, a few weeks or a month or two from now, she'll reach out, she'll start texting you. Obviously, if you keep ignoring her, that's not going to do anything. But how I would have responded to this is obviously just like I spoke. What I would say to her what I said earlier in the video, which is what my response would be to her. He says, lastly, I'm pretty hurt as her, and I shared all the same interests, and we did everything together, and it's like losing my best friend and my partner. Well, at the end of the day, when she reaches out to you, I mean, she's not talking anything in her text here about getting back together or working on it or seeing you or that she misses you or this or that. She's just basically, what she really wants to know is, she wants to know if you're hurting more than she is. Because if you're hurting more than she is, then it makes it easier for her to get over it. It's just psychologically, this is the way we are as human beings, and this is one of the reasons why when two people break up, they both act like they don't give a shit. Because it's like whoever gives a shit the least is always the person that seems to get past it. And when you see the other person is moving past things and it doesn't seem to bother them, how could they just get over me so quickly? It causes them to reach out and to pursue and to try a little bit more. And so I would keep doing what you're doing, which is nothing. No contact, no texting. She into the relationship, and the bottom line is you want to work things out, and she doesn't. So, and in her last text here, didn't say anything about. She's just, I just want to know that you're okay and you're not hurting. And so obviously your non-response is like, I'm not interested in that. I mean, I would have just said, hey, everything's great. I hope you're having a great holidays. Obviously this situation is not ideal, but you made your choice, and I hope you're happy with your decision, and I wish you all the best. If you ever change your mind and you want to work on things, give me a call. Otherwise, have a great holidays, Happy New Year. That's what I would say to her, and move on with it. Unless she brings up getting together, or she's not sure, or she starts asking what you're doing, just say, hey, I'd love to see you. When are you free to get together? Well, hey, why don't you grab a bottle of wine, come on over to my place, and we'll make dinner together. And just do that. Don't take her out. Don't do anything extravagant. Just have her come on over to your place. And when she comes over, hang out, have fun, and hook up. And that's all you need to do. But more than likely, I can't tell because you haven't given me enough information, but once you read my book, you'll be able to tell where you went wrong, because there's obviously things that you were doing and saying that turned this girl off to the point where she fell out of love. Now, she may have never been in love with you in the past, so I can't really tell. I would encourage you to book a phone coaching session. But I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really fucking matter because you got dumped. And the best thing that you can do is to learn what I teach in my book, read it 10 to 15 times to the point where you can literally teach this stuff yourself, and get out there and start applying it with new women so you can arrange a new girl to replace her with, because the sooner you meet somebody, the quicker and the easier it's going to be for you to move on with your life. And plus, it'll put you in a much better position if your ex ever decides to start contacting you and wants to rekindle things in the future. If you've got a couple other girls you're seeing and hooking up and sleeping with, then it's going to be a lot easier to do more things right than wrong with your ex-fiance, so you're able to successfully reattract her in the future. So if you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which will be on the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several weeks to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which will be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, on my website, underneath the email sign-up box, is a box that has a link that will take you right to the Amazon Kindle download page for my book. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device, just download one of their free e-reader apps for whatever electronic device you want to read my book on. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer in these video newsletters, the articles on my website, or my ebook, you can show your appreciation right now by going to my website, and on the Wibbia toolbar at the bottom of your screen, click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. And I will talk to you soon.